I'm a little bit angry and disappointed in myself. Let me tell you why. My name is Puchert, and this is Finding Frequency. It was over lunchtime that a family member turned to me over the weekend and asked me, "Hey, do you fear the coronavirus?" Now, before I share with you my disappointing answer to this, I want to invite you to listen to this.
Hi, my name is Mercia. I'm from Cape Town, South Africa, and I'm Werner's sister-in-law, married to Werner's brother. I am a recent COVID-19 survivor, and my journey is still very much ongoing. I've had about 5 good days in a row now, and it's been about 21 days since the onset of my symptoms. It's really been a challenging past couple of weeks. I'm 42 years old, I'm healthy, moderately fit. Got 2 children, aged 9 and 6, and none of them thankfully contracted the virus and were ill at all. I also haven't had flu in about 15 years. So the thing I get asked most often, I think, is, does it feel like flu? Everybody's quite curious about this virus. They were very concerned, of course, but I definitely find there's a bit of curiosity too, because everybody wants to know, what does it feel like? Everybody's scared. I was scared. Not scared that I was going to die, but you don't know what your body is going to do when you contract the virus. I'm very thankful that it never went into my lungs. I didn't have any breathing difficulty. I didn't have any chest issues. So that I'm extremely thankful for. The onset of my symptoms were very quick. I still to this day will never know where I contracted the virus. I have my suspicions. If I do have to venture to the shops, I wear a mask, of course. I wear latex gloves. I wipe down groceries. My husband used to joke with me and say, "Oh, come on, man, do I really have to wipe this down?" I say, "You wipe this down." I tell the kids, "Take off your shoes, put them in the garage. They've got virus on them." So yes, I am extremely cautious and I take precautions. But you will never know. It is out there. It is real. It is really, really scary. I started feeling ill about midnight the Friday night. I had a headache that day and I went to bed and thinking, let me take 2 paracetamols. I'm not that keen on any pain killers. I don't often take pain medication as well. I had a bad night that night. I remember feeling so cold, thinking, what is going on? I'm restless. I woke up the next morning thinking, I'm going to shower, I'm going to get dressed. I was supposed to work that Saturday afternoon. And because we don't work often during this time because of the pandemic, you feel very guilty having to book off from work. I was telling my husband, I'm going to pack my food for work. I'm going to get dressed, but I'm cold and my back is sore. I've got tingles. And you just brush it aside and you brush it aside. And then about, I would say 10 o'clock that morning, I told my husband, I am really not feeling well. And as an afterthought, grabbed the temperature thermometer and took my temperature. And I looked down on that number and it was almost 38 degrees Celsius. And I was in complete shock. That was when everything changed. I looked down and I went to my husband. I said, I've got a fever. I immediately phoned work. I booked off. I then phoned my sister-in-law, who is a doctor at the local hospital, and explained my symptoms. And then she says, no, it definitely warrants a test in her opinion. So I drove myself to the testing site. They were very helpful. I was helped quickly, but that test is really awful. I asked them, was it going to hurt? And they said they were not going to lie. It is quite uncomfortable, and it is definitely more than just uncomfortable. It's like a very long earbud that they stick up both your nostrils, and it feels like a brain biopsy through your nose. Your eyes tear up immediately. It is horrible. I then came home and I just climbed into bed, and that is pretty much where I stayed for the next couple of days. The first, I would say my illness I can put into two parts. So the first few days I had the headaches, and then the body aches started. I had cold shivers. I was so cold. I would wear a gown, my warmest pajamas, a thick duvet, ask for extra blankets, and then I would just sit and shiver. Cold shivers, and then the body aches. It felt like every bone in my body was broken into 1,000 pieces. And then I would say by the Tuesday that they just went away. I woke up thinking, wow, I feel like a new person. This is fantastic. I think I only had it at these symptoms. I'm now over it. And then 2 days later, I just started to get dizzy. I felt so dizzy. The body aches were gone, the fever was gone, but I was dizzy and so tired. I couldn't get out of bed. Some people who asked me on that Tuesday and Wednesday how I was feeling, and I said I was feeling okay, thought I was over it. And then if they messaged me by the weekend, I'm like, I'm back in bed, and they were like, why are you back in bed? What's wrong? What's going on now? And that I can't explain. I definitely there's two parts of my illness. I will have an okay day, and then some days I just literally can't get out of bed. You can't shower, you can't brush your teeth. You just too tired. Something else that I think is worth mentioning is that I looked into 14 days of isolation, and I thought I was going to feel better on day 14. Yet day 14, I almost felt worse. And I was so sad that day. I really just cried. I was back in bed. I couldn't get out of bed. I was telling my husband, on day 14, we're going to go out. We're just going to drive around the block. I just want to get out. And I just couldn't. And I think it's important to take the time your body needs to recover. Nothing is cast in stone. No people are two people are the same. I have another friend who had completely different symptoms to me. They had the nausea, they had extreme headaches, but they also had the fatigue and the dizziness, but they didn't have any fever. It is scary. The one night I remember, I've never ever had a panic attack in my life, but the one night I just couldn't breathe, and it wasn't because my oxygen levels were low. I was sent a little pulse oximeter to measure my oxygen levels, and that gave me a lot of peace of mind. But before the oximeter arrived, I remember waking up one night and I couldn't breathe, thinking, I don't want to go to hospital, I don't want to be on a ventilator. I had nothing in my chest. It was not a physical, but it's a mental game all the time, trying to stay strong, trying to think you're going to be okay. I never thought I was going to die, but I was really, really scared. And you just don't know. My husband didn't get ill. My children didn't get ill. And now I find it hard because I'm out of isolation, but people are scared. People are scared of me. I don't know what I must say. I don't know. It's not something to be ashamed of. But yes, people are very, very scared. There's a lot of nonsense out there. The amount of things I got sent, and that was tiring too, and mentally tiring, about false positive tests and if I had a flu injection, isn't that the reason why I'm testing positive? Meanwhile, I'm in bed feeling so ill. The virus is real, but the virus is different from person to person. And my journey is not the next person's journey. And I think there's a lot that they still need to learn about this very, very, very real and scary virus. I really don't wish this upon anyone, because it is really hard to stay mentally strong. I don't know what people do who are alone. I've had wonderful support from family and friends, because there's not a good time to get sick. The onset of my symptoms were very quick. We didn't have milk in the house. We didn't have bread in the house. We needed to go do grocery shopping. And it's lockdown. It's the ultimate lockdown when you get tested positive. I got my results very quickly, which also helped. But we were reliant on people to literally go buy us milk and bread and drop it outside our garage, because that is the seriousness of it all. I wish you all well, and I wish you all health, and God bless.
I want to thank my sister-in-law for sharing so candidly, especially because I know her so well. She's usually an epitome of safety, and it shows me if it happened to her, it could happen to anybody. As a family, we're just grateful that she got through it, and of course, it gave us the opportunity to peer behind the curtain of uncertainty, to understand what this is all about. But then again, as Mercia mentioned, this is so uncertain. It's going to be different for everybody else. And this brings me back to this weekend. And it was only really when I was on the motorcycle, when I had time to think about it, that I got a little bit angry and also disappointed in the answer that I gave to the question, do I fear the coronavirus? Now, the first part of the question I answered quite easily. I don't necessarily fear death, and there's no need to live in fear all the time. Anything can happen at any stage. In fact, I was on the motorcycle, something could have happened right there. The second part of my answer, though, is I do fear being out of circulation for a bit of time. Now, like Mercia mentioned, this is not a joke. This is not the flu virus. As an entrepreneur, the virus will take me out of circulation. I will not be able to provide for my family lying in bed for 3-4 weeks. That really worries me. But as I was riding on my motorcycle, I started thinking about that answer, and perhaps also the silly question that was posed in the first place. It was a selfish answer and a selfish question. The fact is, it's not about me fearing corona. I fear passing it on. And that is the crux of this whole pandemic. And let me tell you this, the biggest thing that I fear about this virus is passing it on to my family or my friends. I wouldn't be able to live with myself if there's even a small possibility that I've caused any one of them any harm. And that's the crux of it. It's not about me. It's not about money. It's about my fellow human beings. It's about my family and my friends. So do I fear coronavirus? Indeed I do.